Ladies and gentlemen, imagine with me for a moment. A dark little room, damp walls, flickering light, and inside it sits a man. He is not a hero. He is not a philosopher in a grand hall. He is a bitter, lonely clerk, retired, forgotten by the world, but bursting with anger at life itself. This is the underground man. He begins speaking to us directly, and oh, what an introduction it is. He says, I am a sick man. I am a spiteful man. I am an unattractive man. Not exactly the kind of warm hello you'd expect, right? But that's Dostoevsky's brilliance. From the very first words, we are pulled into the mind of someone who hates, not just society, but even himself. The underground man tells us he lives in St. Petersburg in the 1860s. But it could be anywhere. His world is not the city outside his window. His world is the storm inside his own head. He doesn't believe in progress, in rationality, or in happiness. In fact, he says people are foolish to think life can ever be organized like a math equation. He sneers at the dreamers of his age, those who think science and reason will solve everything. According to him, human beings are not logical creatures at all. No, we are chaotic, petty, destructive, and most of all, we love to sabotage ourselves. He says, give man everything he desires, comfort, wealth, pleasure, and within a few days, out of pure spite, he will break it all, just to prove he is free. Can you feel his anger? His voice is dripping with sarcasm. He mocks the idea that people will ever behave according to reason, like obedient little machines. He insists that deep inside, humans want the freedom to act against their own interests, even if it hurts them. That, he says, is true freedom. And yet, even as he lashes out at humanity, you can sense his real target is himself. He confesses he has done nothing with his life. He was a low-level government clerk, humiliated daily by his superiors, forgotten by colleagues. He has retreated underground, into bitterness, into endless thinking, and no action. He says, I am a man who only thinks, who never acts. Because the moment of action comes, my head fills with doubts, with hesitation, with endless analysis. This is where the name Underground truly makes sense. He has buried himself in thought, in resentment, in inaction. He knows he is cowardly, knows he is small, and yet he clings to his pride. He says, I would rather rot in my corner, gnash my teeth in the dark, than accept the false happiness of others. Can you picture him? This man sitting alone, ranting against the world. At times he is almost funny, mocking the optimism of society. But then he turns the knife on himself. He says, I am not only wicked, I am not only spiteful, I cannot even be wicked properly. I am nothing. And here is the paradox. He despises others, but he despises himself more. He wants recognition, but he refuses to join society. He dreams of greatness, but he admits he is too weak to achieve it. He wants love, but he cannot stop insulting those who approach him. The underground man in this opening monologue is not giving us a story yet. He is giving us a confession, a declaration of war against reason, against optimism, against the very idea that humans are noble. He believes we are low, irrational, and contradictory, and he presents himself as Exhibit A. By the end of this first section, one thing is certain. This is no ordinary narrator. He will not tell us a tale of heroes and victories. Instead, he will drag us into the darkest corners of his mind, where shame, pride, and despair twist together. And whether we like it or not, he will make us listen.
The humiliating dinner has ended, ladies and gentlemen, but the underground man's night is not over. Dragged along, half against his will and half out of stubborn pride, he follows his classmates to a brothel. Imagine him, bitter, drunk, ignored by the group, clinging to his dignity like a man clutching at rags. The others laugh, they forget him, and soon he is left alone in a dim, sordid room. And here, in this place of shadows and cheap comfort, he meets Liza. She is young, weary, and trapped in the cruel cycle of prostitution. She enters the room quietly, expecting the routine of another nameless encounter. But the underground man, awkward, nervous, burning with contradictions, does not treat it as a simple transaction. No, he begins to talk. At first his words are harsh, sharp, almost cruel. He paints for her a picture of her future, how she will age, how men will stop seeking her, how she will be discarded, sick, and forgotten. He speaks with terrifying precision, stripping away her illusions, describing her downfall in painful detail. It is a kind of verbal assault, yet beneath the cruelty, there is something else. He wants to make her feel what he feels: despair, awareness, the unbearable weight of life. Liza listens, stunned, shaken. And then something unexpected happens. Instead of hating him, she sees through the mask of bitterness. She senses the loneliness in his words, the strange mix of pride and misery. And, unbelievably, she begins to care for him. She sees a man not mocking her, but exposing his own brokenness. The underground man, too, feels something stir. For the first time, he is not invisible. For the first time, someone is looking at him with sympathy, not laughter. And this frightens him. He lashes out, he softens, he contradicts himself. He tells her she can still escape her fate, that she should seek a different life, that love, family, dignity might still be possible for her. His words are clumsy, but they are strangely sincere. When she finally leaves, he presses his address into her hand. Imagine the scene: a man who has just spent hours humiliating himself before his classmates, now giving hope to a woman society has already written off. It is a bizarre, powerful reversal. And yet, in his twisted way, the underground man believes he has saved her, and perhaps, through her, himself. But deep inside, he is trembling. Because to be cared for, to be truly seen, is terrifying. He has built his life in the shadows, in bitterness, in the safety of isolation. Liza's compassion threatens that. It opens a door he does not know how to walk through. This encounter sets the stage for the most important conflict of the novel. Will the underground man allow himself the possibility of connection, of love, of redemption? Or will he, as always, destroy it with his pride and spite? For now, the night ends. The city outside is cold, indifferent. The underground man returns to his underground life, but the seed has been planted. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the story reaches its most fragile and dangerous moment. Days have passed since that strange night in the brothel. The underground man has returned to his corner, pacing, overthinking, replaying every word. He convinced himself that in speaking to Liza, he held power, that he rescued her from despair. But deep down, he knows another truth: she touched something in him that he cannot control. Then, one day, there is a knock at his shabby little door. And there she is, Liza. She has come. She has found him. Imagine his panic. He, who lives in isolation, who has built walls of spite and sarcasm, now faced with a real human being standing in his filthy apartment. The room itself tells the story of his soul: damp walls, broken furniture, piles of neglect. He is ashamed, humiliated, not just by the dirt of the room, but by the dirt inside himself. And yet, he greets her with arrogance, trying to regain the upper hand. He mocks, he scolds, he sneers. Why? Because her presence terrifies him. But Liza is not mocking. She sits quietly, listening, patient. She sees through the bluster. He talks, and talks, and talks, a storm of words, half philosophy, half confession. He tells her of his misery, his failures, his loneliness. He declares that life has crushed him, that he has wasted himself in endless thought and no action. His voice rises, breaks, trembles. And Liza listens with compassion. At last, something cracks inside him. The bitterness melts into sobbing. Yes, this proud, spiteful man collapses at her feet, clinging to her, begging for forgiveness, crying like a child. For a brief, miraculous moment, he is honest. He admits his shame, his weakness, his hunger for love. And Liza, moved to tears herself, reaches out to comfort him. It is the closest the underground man will ever come to redemption. Two broken souls, in a dingy Petersburg apartment, holding on to each other in silence. For a flicker of time, he has what he always longed for: human connection. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, Dostoevsky does not deal in fairy tales. Pride is not so easily defeated. No sooner has he shown his vulnerability than terror strikes him. What if she now pities him? What if she sees him as small, pathetic? The thought is unbearable. And so, in an act of cruelty, he lashes out. He mocks her once more, turns cold, pushes her away with sharp, cutting words. He tells her she is nothing, that her feelings mean nothing, that he was only playing with her. His words are like knives, stabbing at the very moment of tenderness. And Liza? She rises quietly. She sees the truth, not just of him, but of herself. She has given her compassion, and he has turned it into a weapon. She walks to the door, silent, broken. He tries to stop her, to call her back, but the words stick in his throat. He watches as she leaves, as the only chance of love in his life slips away forever. In the silence that follows, he feels the full weight of his defeat. He has destroyed not just her hope, but his own. His underground remains sealed, darker than before. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine the underground man standing alone in that cramped, suffocating room. The air feels heavy, as if it too has witnessed his cruelty. He has just pushed away the one soul who offered him compassion. And now, he begins to crumble. At first, he paces the floor in a frenzy. He mutters to himself, justifying, excusing, inventing reasons why he was right to drive Liza out. She would have pitied me. She would have despised me in the end. He insists. His pride shouts loudly, but underneath it, his heart trembles. He knows, oh, he knows, that what he has destroyed is not her dignity, but his own last chance at redemption. Then the storm turns inward. He begins to rage not at Liza, not at society, but at himself. Why am I like this? He cries. Why must I always spit on what I long for? Why can I not love, cannot be loved, cannot simply be human? His voice rises and breaks. He slams his fist against the wall, against the table, as if punishing his own body for the sickness of his soul.